Most welcome for the Apex Press.
Collectively known as the Revival in WWE, Harwood and Wheeler teamed up with Randy Orton in 2019 in a feud against the New Day, Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. The alliance ended after Orton was drafted to the Raw brand. FTR teamed up with Punk after the latter made his return to AEW on the premiere episode of Collision on June 17, 2023. CMFTR defeated Samoa Joe, Jay White, and Juice Robinson in a six-man tag team match. In a new interview with WrestleZone, Dax Harwood addressed fans accusing him and Wheeler of latching onto bigger stars to earn stardom. He said the duo never asked to team up with legends like Punk and Orton. Instead, it was always the other stars who proposed the idea to them. We've been part of a lot of groups, and it's funny, I was actually thinking about this today. The funny part is we get a lot of flack online, saying we latch onto others, but here's the crazy part. Even going back to FTRKO, do you think it was Cash and myself who went to Vince McMahon and said, "Hey, put us with Randy"? Or was it Randy who said, "I'd like to work with these guys"? Same thing with Punk, CMFTR. Do you think, even though we were doing well in AEW, that we went to Tony Khan and said, "Hey, make sure you put us with Punk"? Or was it Randy who said, "I'd like to work with these guys"? Same thing with Punk, CMFTR. Do you think, even though we were doing well in AEW, that we went to Tony Khan and said, "Hey, make sure you put us with Punk"? Or was it Punk who said, "I want to work with these guys. I want to team up with Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler"? FTR and Adam Copeland recently teamed up against Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. Dax Harwood revealed that Cope was the one who approached them with the idea to combine forces. FTR and Adam Copeland recently teamed up against Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. Dax Harwood revealed that Cope was the one who approached them with the idea to combine forces. The same goes for Adam Copeland. Do you think it was us, 10-time World Tag Team Champions, 7-star FTR, recognized as one of the greatest tag teams in the world? Do you think it was us who made Adam say, "Let's team up together"? It's everyone else who wants to work with us, and honestly, we're ecstatic to work with them. But it's so funny to me that people like to take it as we want to latch onto other people's success. But that's neither here nor there. Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, and Adam Copeland beat Jon Moxley and his allies on Dynamite. Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta had a trios match against Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, and Adam Copeland on AEW Dynamite. Fight for the Fallen 2025 that the babyface team secured the victory against the AEW World Champion and his allies with a little help from Jay White. It was the Rated R Superstar who pinned Yuta for the win. Wrestlers Randy Orton loved in real life, and 5 he didn't. Randy Orton's the only member out of the Ohio Valley Wrestling class of 2002 who's still wrestling full-time today in WWE. Orton's one of the most gifted wrestlers from his time, who's excelled at every area of his craft, whether it's promos, his character work, or being able to perform at a higher level despite being in his 40s. That now Orton was also a notorious name back in the day. He was controversial, and he admitted that, but is now probably one of the best companies to have around. Orton's longevity led to many great friendships in wrestling, but not with everyone. Everyone knows that Randy Orton has always considered Cody Rhodes a great friend of his. They've known each other for decades now. At one point, Rhodes was also part of Orton's legacy faction, where the latter played the role of his mentor, but they've talked about each other in numerous interviews, with Rhodes even saying he'd be nothing without Orton in his life. Back in 2009, when Mr. Kennedy returned from an injury, he faced Orton in a 10-man tag team match. This match ended up being the reason behind Kennedy's release a few days later. What happened was Kennedy botched a back suplex, and Orton claimed it hurt his neck, so he complained about it. Kennedy was already in hot water with the WWE management, so they sided with Orton and released him. They used to be good friends, but Kennedy said the day of his return when he interacted with Orton, he seemed a bit off, and soon the in-ring incident happened, followed by his release. They made amends a few years back and are now on good terms again. Another wrestler Randy Orton has been close to throughout his career is John Cena. Orton's wife, Kim, commented on their friendship on the Wives of Wrestling podcast and said this: "Randy doesn't have many close people, but John Cena is one of them. And anytime any one of them do anything, they're always like reaching out to each other. H/T, essentially sports. They're so synonymous with each other's careers as well. Both were WWE's top stars, Cena being the most popular babyface, whereas Orton was the best heel at one point. Even on-screen, both wrestlers had great chemistry and had great matches, such as the I Quit match at Breaking Point 2009. Since they meant so much to each other in their careers, it's no surprise that the Viper wants the Cenation leader to induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame. In the future, Bubba Ray Dudley and Randy Orton didn't get along back in the day. One time, the Dudley boys had a match with Orton and Batista where everyone got injured. Orton broke his foot, whereas Batista hurt his triceps, and in Batista's book, he claimed that not only did Bubba not check in on the Viper, but he also blamed him for hurting his back. In an interview in 2008, Orton shared his feelings about Bubba Ray Dudley and said, "I never liked him." But in 2015, they squashed their beef after the Dudley boys returned to WWE again. Kurt Angle and Randy Orton faced each other many times on WWE television. Angle and Orton still remain good friends today. Angle has called Orton the best heel in wrestling before. When Randy Orton made his debut in WWE, Kurt Angle mentored him. They would travel on the road together, and Angle made sure that he was there whenever Orton needed him. While they didn't wrestle a ton of matches against each other in WWE, whenever they shared the ring, fans had a great time. Kelly worked for WWE from 2006 until 2012. She was popular among fans, but many wrestlers didn't like her, including Randy Orton. Randy Orton didn't face any repercussions for his comments about Kelly. On 98 Cup's Real Rock radio show in 2011, Randy Orton made controversial remarks against Kelly, who was WWE's Divas champion at that time. Orton talked about Kelly sleeping with at least 10 people from the locker room, and it got him a ton of heat from both fans as well as from guys in the back. Orton published an apology later, but it didn't help him at all. There was some beef between them, but fans felt it was unacceptable for Orton to publicly insult a fellow colleague like that. Randy Orton was part of Triple H's Evolution stable. Orton retired Triple H on WWE programming. Triple H and Randy Orton have had several great matches against each other. While Randy Orton served as Cody Rhodes' mentor early on in his career, it was Triple H who took care of the Apex Predator. Orton got into trouble often as a rookie, and Triple H was always there as an advisor. He always believed in Orton. The Viper also talked about Triple H in a Sports Illustrated interview and said, "I've had a relationship with him for over 20 years. I went to his wedding back in '03. We've been at odds before when I was AF.